Hello and welcome to today's math activity, which is going to be on measuring. That's the unit I'm in right now with my class, and I hope that maybe you are too. It's okay if you're not. Maybe you just need a day to get out of your books and in hands-on math, and this is the activity for you. It comes to us from the Ames Foundation, which is in Fresno, California. I first became acquainted with Ames as a beginning teacher in 1986. They like to say that they were STEM before there was STEM, and it's true. They were really the first people that I know of anyway that combined science and math in meaningful ways for our students. Unfortunately, they are no longer selling their merchandise. And so I was able to contact them directly, and a nice man named Chris called me back straight away and gave me permission to post this activity for you for free on Teachers Pay Teachers. I'm hoping that someday they'll make their materials available again, because after all these years, they are still just quality materials that are so hands-on and fun to use in the classroom. But in this activity, they're going to measure height and arm span. Interestingly, most children are tall rectangles. Most basketball players, this will come as no surprise, are far-reaching rectangles, and I'm pretty sure Michael Phelps would fall under this category. And most adults are square, height and arm span being the same. The first thing that they'll do with this activity is they're going to predict their height and arm span. And I spent a few days teaching them about centimeters and millimeters and meters, and I felt like they really understood it. But then we started doing the activity, and I quickly realized that they hadn't fully grasped it, and I'm so glad that I chose this activity to do. We've learned that a centimeter is about a staple long, and that a millimeter is about a pencil tip or a pen tip. And I felt that they really understood that, until they came to me during the activity saying things like, "Mrs. Matsuda, I'm 56 centimeters tall." And I said, "I guarantee you're not." "No, I really am." And I had to go back and do some reteaching. This is what we used right here. These strips that my husband got for us on Amazon, and he'll put the links for you. And I had to tape two of them together, and I put them around the room wherever I had a flat space. I taped them, and then I left some just lying around the room so that they could use those in small groups. They had to do this, with partners, so they could do their arm span. But the first thing that they'll do is predict. I first learned about making predictions from Ames, and Ames is really big into, before they do any type of measuring, to actually predict. So they'll predict their height and their arm span, and then they'll determine their own size, and then they'll graph it. Then once everyone is complete, then I did this part on my overhead projector, or my document camera, I guess is what we call it nowadays. But I just went one by one, and I had them tell me their height and arm span. And then, so I'd say, "Thomas, what is your height in centimeters and your arm span?" And then tell me what shape you are. And as you can see here in 4th grade, we are indeed mostly tall rectangles. We could have done something beyond this. We could have done an average, the average of our arm span, the average of our height. I might do that next year. But I did share this activity with my good friend Rachel, who teaches 6th grade, and they had so much fun doing this activity. And interestingly, 2 years later from where my students are, most of her students were already wide-reaching rectangles. And so now my students are so excited because they can't wait to get to do it in 2 years to see how they have changed. There's a follow-up activity that goes with this one, which does circumference, and it teaches them that there's a ratio between the circumference of our heads to our height. Now, I didn't do this year. Maybe I will next year, but you'll get all of these materials when you go to Teachers Pay Teachers. And I know my husband would want me to remind you to do this by just typing in my name into Teachers Pay Teachers, Deneen Matsuda, and then you'll get to it in the most direct and quick way. So that is RU Square, and I hope that you will have fun doing that with your class this week, and you didn't have to buy anything, I hope, and your students can get more comfortable and familiar with the metric system, you know, we are one of only 3 countries in the world that isn't using the metric system. Myanmar and Liberia being the other 2. And we don't want our students to be afraid of metric. Now, I have told you a few times now about the little math club that meets on Fridays after school. For my most developing math students, we have so much fun together with math. And in the beginning of the year, I would have a plan. You know, I would already decide this is what we're going to do, which is usually review what we've done, and then if we have time, preview what is coming in the new week. But in the most recent months, I have really left it to them. I'll get them back into the room after the others have left, and I'll say, what do you need? And they love that. I think they love the control of this is our time where we can tell you what we want to do. And they often want to do some type of a multiplication activity to work on their facts. And so this week was no different. They said we want to do flashcards. And this is how I have been doing flashcards in my class all year, is I have my little basket and I have them in small groups of about 5. And if I'm with them, then I'm the teacher. And if I'm not with the group, then I choose someone to be the teacher. And I hold up the flashcard, and whoever says the answer first gets the card. And we just keep moving that way. But a few weeks ago, Kara, in the middle of our doing this activity, she said, Mrs. Matsuda, can we do it a different way? And I said, sure. What do you have in mind? And she said, well, can you just show me the flashcard, just me? And if I get it right, I get the card. And then you can show Matthew the flashcard. And if he gets it right, he can get the card. And I said, are you serious? Would that be fun? And she said, yes. And I looked at the group and I said, would that be fun? Yes. I didn't know that even in that small group, my doing the contest thing was giving them feelings of anxiety and stress. And that's not what I want. Of course, there are many students in the class who thrive on that. But do we all? No. So yesterday when it was time, I said, what do you want to do? And they said flashcards. And I said, well, do you want to do my system or the Kara system? And they all said the Kara system. And Zara and Maxwell even said, you know, when we do around the world, it just gives me stress. Something that in my mind I thought was so fun for everyone. In this small group, they felt safe enough to tell me, we don't like that. We're stressed. And so we did the Kara system, stress-free, and had a wonderful time learning together. I hope that you are well. I hope that you have the courage that you need to power through to the end of this year. And I look forward to our time together again next week. But before we go, I must remind you that you are a math person and that you are enough. And I will see you soon. Goodbye.